okay, so this part really, like, it's just, I went crazy because this is hilarious. The whole time the United States, the West, have for decades made Russia to be the boogeyman, of course. And now, since Putin's been in power, Putin is the new Hitler. He's trying to take over Ukraine, make it the Sudetenland. He's going to take over all of Europe. He's going to take over the world. He is a dictator. He is, putting people in jail, doing all these things. Zelensky has been accused by his own people of putting journalists in jail, of allowing these band-right fascists to give tickets to people for speaking Russian, allowing them to commit disgusting crimes on innocent civilians, literally for speaking the wrong thing, for sounding Russian, for whatever they will invent. And we're going to show you some of these videos, but he's allowed these people to take over, right? And he's also become a dictator of himself, banning oppositional parties and banning, of course, Russian media. And he still has the time and the audacity to allow the neo-Nazi parties to exist, in spite of banning a lot of, and this is for the skinny jean left, the synthetic left, a lot of the leftists, a lot of the communists, a lot of the the parties that are oppositional to this agenda that he has. And so this is from the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine. Zelensky suspended activities of 11 opposition parties for, quote, ties to Russia. He also signed a decree combining national TV channels into one platform, how 1984 is at, citing the importance of a unified information policy. Who decides that? Under martial law. I mean, this, if Putin did this, imagine the outcry. They would try to drone him. They would say, we need his head. They would say they needed to kill him. They already say that. So imagine like what would happen if Putin did this.
Yeah, it would be, forget about it. The media would be going nuts. I mean, I don't think it's possible that you can make Putin worse of a person the way the mainstream media has made him. And Sean Hannity is now called for the assassination of Vladimir Putin. But I mean, if it did happen, fam, I'd be interested to see how the mainstream media would kind of display Putin, because this is just ridiculous. And the fact is, I don't understand how Americans can continue to fall and put the Ukraine flag in their bio and all this BS when they see stuff like this. I mean, this is like in your face right now, disassembling of people's parties, representatives, other people who think differently. And like you said, fam, the Nazi parties ain't going away. Oh, no. But the progressive parties, the liberal parties, and all these other parties, bye-bye. And nobody says anything about it. You won't find this clip on the mainstream media.
In fact, Pasta, one of the parties he banned actually condemned Putin's invasion. So he's not just they're banning like a lot of people, even people who told the same narrative, essentially. So this is from Axios. They kind of talk a little bit about the politicians and what Zelensky was doing. They say any activity of politicians aimed at splitting or collaborating will not succeed, Zelensky said. So, of course, this is in his little telegram that he gave out. He basically said that the reason he was doing this is because he wants to stop the sort of collaboration between these oppositional factions. The National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, of course, decided to ban these parties for life. The Shari Party, Nashi, Opposition Bloc, Left Opposition, Union of Left Forces, State Progressive, Socialist Party of Ukraine, Socialist Party of Ukraine, Socialist Party, and Vladimir Saldo Bloc, Zelensky said. So those are all the parties that they decided to ban. And I wanted to go back to January, which wasn't that long ago, like a couple months ago, where this was already happening. A lot of people have said that he has been doing this, like we mentioned, jailing journalists, silencing any sort of dissent. And this is directly from the Kiev Independent that has been pushing a lot of actual misinformation, that's been pushing a lot of, pro
propaganda and bullshit.
Yeah, propaganda bullshit, anti-Russian bullshit. And so they even wrote an article, how Zelensky's administration moves to dismantle press freedom in Ukraine. And this is, when they talk about when he became the quote servant of the people, when that was his, his party, and he got into power in 2019, he said, his office said that it doesn't need journalists. So they ran on this. We don't need journalists. Can you imagine? I mean, this is, for people
being
who are
honest about it, fam. We don't need journalists. We got propagandists. Please get rid of the journalists.
At least they're honest about it, right? Like in the United States, they say they support freedom and and the First Amendment and all of that, while having, of course, Julian Assange, Mumia, and other journalists and whistleblowers and activists in jail right now for exposing these war crimes. So at least they're honest blatantly, right, about this whole thing. So they mentioned that for the past 4 months at that time, they saw a surge of attempts to control the media, that it included pressure on publication owners, demands to political talk shows, attempts to cancel the screening of documentary films, and threats of criminal prosecution against media outlets and journalists. There was a bill threatening media independence that was also registered during Zelensky's tenure, and it was awaiting review by Parliament. So the government wants to expand funding for tame state media to amplify its message. So this was happening a while ago, and the Kiev Independent wrote about it and recognized it. So it's kind of interesting that now suddenly, Zelensky is a hero worthy of being emulated in some sort of cartoon caricature of a Marvel figure, and also, of course, nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, which is, of course, right in line with the people who are nominated for those. But they also talked about how they saw the displeasure of the government towards the media that isn't under direct control, that they saw a trend of government attacks on the rights of journalists, that journalists are controlled by bad people and oligarchs. So they mentioned this, and they asked why now. We're approaching the parliamentary elections and then the presidential elections, and this government believes that it lacks the resources to win. Both the oligarchs and the free press criticize it, and the Zelensky's office never responded to this, but this is part of it. And they also talked about how Ukraine's media landscape is supposed to be competitive, and there are a significant number of independent outlets that exist. Many publications, especially TV channels, are owned by oligarchs. These media tend to push the narratives of their owners. Most Ukrainians get their news from TV. The past few years have seen a professionalization of Ukraine's journalist corporations and media business models, said Andrei Ianitsky, an economic journalist who teaches his craft at the Kiev School of Economics. So again, this is very similar to what we see in the United States in terms of the press only representing their oligarchs, 100%, right? But they're saying it out there.
Were you reading about America, or were you reading about Ukraine over there? Well, hey, oligarchs running things, and that's how they get the media and stuff. I mean, it's very much the same, and they got their own. I think they took the model from the United States and just and used it in Ukraine. It's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's hilarious too, because it's like, well, hey, like you said, is this America or is this Ukraine? Ukraine is, by all accounts, one of the most corrupt places in the world, especially in Europe. And so, it's no surprise that the United States and NATO align themselves with a country so representative of the same type of domestic and foreign policy that they espouse. And this is straight from the word of the Kiev Independent, supposedly the journalist outlet that actually tells the truth, right, when it comes to this conflict. So it's funny. And then, of course, the other thing that I kind of mentioned already is that he used martial law to sign a decree to combine all national TV channels into one platform. So this is, of course, from Reuters. And of course, they say President Volodymyr Zelensky has signed a decree that combines all national TV channels into one platform, citing the importance of a unified information policy under martial law, his office said in a statement on Sunday. Ukrainian privately owned media channels have hereafter continued to operate since the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, The decree announcement made on the presidential website did not specify how quickly the measure would come into force, but it's coming. And Zelensky is pretty much, I mean, if you want to describe a totalitarian dictator, that is essentially it. You're gonna make it one message, one entire channel, no oppositional parties.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't the
he took a page from
neoconservatives
Hitler's
always
book.
complain, fam, about that? Don't they always say we need this? It's centralized power. We want choices. We want, we don't want one control. We don't want one channel and stuff. And you're supporting this stuff. The conservatives are supporting this war and shit when this guy is consolidating all the media into one. I mean, come on, this is mind-boggling. Like you can even say that, talk about Vladimir Putin. Look what Zelensky's doing right here. Everything that you're scared and you're fearful of when it comes to socialism or communism that you always cry about is happening, and you're supporting it. Wake up, people.
They're entirely hypocritical at this point. And both the neocons, obviously, and the neoliberals, right? Because the neoliberals are like, oh, we love freedom, or we love free speech, we love people having rights, etc. And the neocons are, oh yeah, anti-censorship, yeah, we need choices, like you just said. So they're both hypocrites because it's America first, right? But it's not America first. This is hurting the working people of the United States. They, it's that sort of process where they think America can do no wrong. On the right, and on the left, it's that process of, oh, America has the responsibility to teach the world that to be better.
I have a question. I'm very curious, fam. You got to tell me. And I refer to the tweet you made that it took one election cycle for all these Democrats to sheep herd you back into the party and stuff like that. But are you not surprised, being that we've already went through the situation in Iraq, that the shit libs have caught up and maybe even surpassed some of the neocons when it comes to foreign policy and war? I mean, are you a little surprised? I mean, I got to be honest with you that I am a little surprised that they are this pro-war.
I don't know if I'm surprised, because this has been programming that's made to be that way. I don't think they're caught up. I think this is the new sort of political lines that we're seeing, the new formation, because of the way people have been brainwashed and propagandized. I think it's like, okay, so now you have the left that has become little fascists in terms of foreign policy, and in terms of course, the COVID pandemic and all of that. That was all like, they were all like leading up until this moment. So now they're in agreement and in alignment when it comes to this. And that's exactly what the establishment in the State Department and the intelligence community in the United States want, because they want anybody opposing that to seem like a fringe group. And so they use some of the people that are on the right, but that are still calling this out, right? That have maybe more conservative social viewpoints, but that are like, wait a minute, we need to stop intervening in this situation. The United States needs to back off. This is wrong. And the left, what's left of the left, right? And everybody else that's like, yeah, like this is bad. We're not pro NATO. NATO is a tool of the defense industry. It's a tool of the intelligence agencies. It's just this is bad. Like this is going to cause hurt on us. We need to stop our interventionist policy. So those two groups have essentially agreed upon this, and a lot on the vaccine mandate situation. But because some of those people are on the populist, or on like the anti-establishment right or whatever, they can then say, oh, you people are with them, so you are these extremists, you are these fringe groups, you are this and that. And so when you see the shit libs talk about whether it's us or whether it's somebody that's on the right, they'll say, oh, the fringe crazy right-wing lunatic, or the fringe left, or that crazy left that believes in conspiracy theories, even though we're showing you this is not a conspiracy theory. This is literally happening right now. And they get to discount those groups as outsiders, when in reality, the vast majority of Americans know there's something wrong. They just don't know exactly what is happening, right? And so that's by design. And I don't think I think less and less people are buying the whole theater of like Republican and Democrat situation. I think that's why you see increasingly less people voting or caring about all of this stuff.
There was somebody on the morning show today, or from the tweeters, that was kind of, you're a right winger. I don't want to listen to right wingers in the morning, blah, blah, blah. You know, he really nice. He had his mask on and his profile picture and everything, fam. And then I was like, well, you know, wow, holy cow, man. Like, you know, we've been agreeing a lot with a lot of populist right people too, as they've been anti-establishment when it comes to civil liberties, situation with the boop boop, J6, the election and stuff like that. But as soon as I hear their rhetoric when it comes to, you know, the Ukraine situation, they remind me of why I first registered as a Democrat during the Iraq war. Not to say I am a Democrat, but when I registered to vote, because I said there was no way I'm going to stand with these neocons whatsoever. And they are just back out again too as well. So it's just, it's crazy all in all, fam.
Yeah, the neocons are neocons. And they're going to be neocons, and they're going to be that first and foremost. For me, it has to be, you have to be anti-war. You have to be an anti-imperialist for me to be able to even work with you, because otherwise we're just working in two completely different extremes, right? Like you want war, you think one entity serves to dictate the rest of the world, and you want freedoms for you, and when they're infringed upon you, then you get mad, but when they're infringed on somebody else, you don't care. So it's like, okay, well, that's not going to work. And I think the people that are like that are hypocrites, just like the people from the left who are right on this issue, but completely were so wrong on the COVID issue and are ignoring it. They're not even admitting to the fact that they were wrong. They're not going to admit to it. They're going to continue freaking out about the next thing and the next thing. But it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, it's all part of the same mechanism. It's coming from the same people. So you cannot pick and choose which narrative you make exceptions to. It's all part of the same thing. And I think we're going to find collaborations. We're going to find camaraderie with people who see both, right? Whatever part of the spectrum they fall in, if they see both and they're like, okay, we see what's going on, or we see these connections. And those are the people that I think we can work with. And I think more and more people, the danger, what they're afraid of is that more and more people like us get this message across, and they're able to see those connections, and people are able to say, okay, this is wrong and we need to stop this. That's why they censor the hell out of us. That's why they censor the hell out of anybody that is able to make those connections. That's why they have to call you a right winger, because if you are able to convince somebody on the right that this is wrong, and we're able to talk to them, right, and we're able to get them on our side. If there are who are watching the show, and maybe they start understanding the foreign policy aspect as to why we're anti-war, that's far more dangerous than, you know, having a bunch of a shitlib progressives talking about, you know, that Bernie being a socialist and AOC being a democratic socialist, and talking about things that are never going to happen, because there's no real pathway to that, because they know that they're allowing these people to talk about that because they're not a threat. So this next video, fam, I think it's going to piss you off, or it's going to make you laugh, or both. So this is Anthony Blinken talking about Putin and talking about Russia, but just replace the word Russia with the United States, and then you'll see how based Blinken really is.
Again today, we have a strong sense of what Russia could do next.
More volume on.
We believe that Moscow may be setting the stage to use a chemical weapon and then falsely blame Ukraine to justify escalating its attacks on the Ukrainian people. Manufacturing events and creating false narratives of genocide to justify greater use of military force is a tactic that Russia has used before, including in Georgia. We believe Russia will bring its mercenaries from private military groups and foreign countries to Ukraine. President Putin acknowledged as much over the weekend when he authorized the recruitment of additional forces from the Middle East and elsewhere. Another indication that his war effort is not going as he hoped it would. They're also likely to systematically kidnap local officials and replace them with puppets. Again, this has already begun.
Fam, I didn't know if I wanted to laugh or cry on that. You were absolutely right. Like, in the local puppets, it's already been done. Yeah, like what you did in 2014.
2014. Like how many other times, fam? Like how
Everywhere.
many times have we done? Let's see. Let's go back to the attempt in Venezuela, the attempt of the success in Bolivia. I mean, we can continue on and on and on.
Iran, 1953.
Yes. I mean, this is like, it's hilarious. It's how you have to be a psychopath to say this with a straight face. You have to be. I don't see any way around how you aren't a psychopath, because every time he said Russia, the United States should have been
Exactly.
what he said, and that would have been truthful. Mercenaries, the United States is literally sent mercenaries everywhere. They have mercenaries everywhere. And now NATO, of course, is asking for volunteers, mercenaries, to go there and fight, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of these mercenaries that are coming in have some nationalist tendencies, that they support these type of Nazi nationalist tendencies. So, let's get all the people that we were the few people that we like fear mongering about in the United States, right? Let's get them to go fight for Ukraine. Now we're not just going to vilify them. Now we're just going to call to them so they can go fight our crazy wars. And they've supported, of course, and created radical extremists, the United States government has, for a long time. And so this is nothing new, but it's really crazy when you hear this man say it with a straight face. Russia did this, Russia and the Russians and the Russians. No, it's the United States that has continuously done this. And what they're doing is really disgusting. We're going to show you what the United States is supporting, as we have been on the show for weeks now since this conflict began. This is a video that was sent to me, and this is a group of Ukrainians telling this reporter that the Azov battalion group is preventing people from leaving and is executing people who are trying to escape. This is something that we have been told from numerous people from the region who are on the ground. And also we've seen numerous times that they are using these civilians as shields. There is a couple of good articles now from the Grace, and I think Alex Rubinstein did one and Max Blumenthal did one, talks a little bit about some of this, but like this has been happening for a while now. And so let's just watch this video because it's pretty gross.
Накрытые, все. А вот в частный сектор я видел, хоронят там, где живут, там и хоронят.
Украинские военные как-то помогали вам, давали зеленый коридор?
Вообще никто ничего не давал, никаких коридоров. В подвалах сидим. Азов, сука, выезжали люди, Азов, блядь, расстреливал пидораса, сука. Что Азов делал? Расстреливал колонны, блядь, мирных, нахуй, пытались выезжать на Володарск, расстреливали автобусы, блядь.
So, just, pretty much reiterates what we've been saying and what's been happening. And this is, of course, things you don't see in the mainstream media at all. You're not going to see that. It ruins their narrative that the Ukrainians are the good guys. So another video. This is a video of the Azov members in a house where they have all of these people on the ground as they play classical music. It's very eerie video, but you guys can go ahead and watch it.
Is the volume up?
So you guys saw the people on the floor. You guys saw how they were just, occupying this space. Now, this is a video thread, right? I wanted to show this video thread of abuse. And I wanted to just scroll through it, Oz, if you can, because there's so many videos and you guys should go check this thread out. This is a thread by You Black Soul, Juan Sin Miedo, Juan Sin Medio, You Black Soul. And the first part says, hundreds of civilians have been punished for diverse reasons in Ukraine by paramilitary groups and the National Guard. Strong footage, tortures, abuses, humiliation, even of kids and girls. So it's a video thread. Like I said, you guys should check it out. And are you on it? Great. Okay. So if you just scroll down and the next one, if as you scroll down, of course, the videos should be playing. I don't know if they're not. I don't know why they're not for you, but there is just videos of people being like hit in the back, in their you know, in their rear, and for whatever reason, right? Whether it's Russian sympathy, looting, people searching for food, they're tying them up to the poles, they're leaving them in the cold. They're this is like he mentions, this is a violation of the Human Rights Convention.
Yeah.
These are videos that are hard to watch. People
Oz,
are
go to the
labeled
one
as-
where they're on the polls, please, and let's get that one in big.
Which one? That one?
Right there.
Yeah.
If you can
So
get it that widescreen real quick and show people what's going on with, you know, I was just kind of confused of what was going on. Like this is you're saying this is the militia of the Ukrainians telling the citizens they can't leave, and if they try to leave or do something wrong, they're tying
This
them
is
to
just
poles.
abuse. This is just documented abuse by the Ukrainian forces
Yeah.
against people, right? For whatever reason. So whether they express Russian sympathy, whether they express some sort of you know, anything, they do something wrong, if they do any sort of thing that they find that they don't like. So a lot of people on the ground have described these people as just like a lot like similar to the Gestapo, just like they enjoy torturing these people, they enjoy seeing them suffer. This is where the money that these morons are giving to in Ukraine goes to. This is where the money's going to support this sort of treatment. These people have been enduring this treatment for a long time. If they see that you're pro-Russian in any way, you know, they publicly humiliate you. And then people start coming in, like random people pass by while you're tied to the pole. They continue humiliating you. They continue hitting you. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And this is happening, of course, all over. And it's the Ukrainian forces that are doing this. It's not the Russian forces. I mean, this seems more to me like something that is totalitarian. This, in fact, it has been compared to what Al-Qaeda has done, what these radical extremists did in West Asia, right? And of course, the United States continuously lends support via weapons, via politics to these groups of people. And they don't talk about this. They don't show that this is happening. And there's just so much of happening. And a lot of these people, they're saying, are the neo-Nazi factions that are doing this. And we've seen record videos, right? Recorded videos of World War II of how the Gestapo acted. And so there's a lot of comparison to the Gestapo, to the radical actual jihadists of that, of West Asia. And so, yeah, so just wanted to show you guys, make sure to take a look. There's so many videos. It doesn't matter if they're women, children, it's men, it's women, it's everybody. And yeah, this is, I mean, I just have not seen any of this in mainstream media whatsoever at all. And this is
disgusting. It's disturbing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing. And thank you to Juan Medo for putting it out there. And I'm
how is
surprised
it not
it's
taken
even on
down
there.
already?
Oh, it got taken down?
How is it not taken down?
Oh, I don't know. But I hope it doesn't, because people need to see it. He said if it got taken down, he would post them back up. So yeah, I really wanted to show that. And I know it was disturbing, but people need to go and check that out, all the videos. This next video, fam, is the last video of this section. This is a video that Dan Cohen meticulously posted. He was the first one to post this thread. It's a very important thread because it's really showing how the head of the Ukrainian military medical services, Gennady Druzenko, boasted on the Ukrainian 24 channel that he gave strict orders to castrate all the wounded Russians because they are cockroaches, not humans. Not all fascists wear swastikas or wolf's angels. So here is the video, and it's translated. And let's go ahead and play the video. But again, I just wanted to show who really are, you know, the people abusing the civilians.
Горит путинская техника хорошо. Трупы путиноидов смердят, но как бы опять-таки становятся безвредными. Я своим врачам дал указание, всегда я был большим гуманистом и говорил, что как только человек пораненный, он уже не враг, а пациент. Но теперь очень жесткое указание всем мужчинам кастрировать, потому что это тараканы, а не люди. И поверьте, все врачи, которые всю жизнь спасали пациентов, русские тут будут умирать в большом количестве. Те, кто идет, будет вспоминать кошмар украинской земли, как немцы вспоминали Сталинград.
И все они будут привлечены к ответственности, Геннадий, да? Давайте...
So I'm just gonna point out to something else he said too. This guy Druzenko is closely tied to the U.S. government. He had stints at the USAID and / Monix and the Wilson Center. So if you go to his Facebook, I think he has, you guys can see his resume. He worked at the USAID. He has worked for the U.S. As a program coordinator at the Chemonix International Inc., which is the USAID cutout, CIA cutout. So this is the kind of people the United States is supporting. Shouldn't surprise you after everything that happened with the pandemic. Shouldn't surprise you after every disastrous regime change war, every interventionist, every coup. But it gets worse and worse, of course, because now they're full on embracing fascists and neo-Nazis, right? They clutch their pearls at a Trump supporter here, and they talk about January 6th still ad nauseum, and how these people were Nazis and all of that. But then they go and fund real paramilitary fascists in Ukraine who are committing disgusting crimes against humanity, and they say, well, Putin is bad, so whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's nuts. But, I want to digress to the Blinks. And first of all, fams, if you can call him the Blinks or the Blink, Anthony Blinken, he likes to be called that name. How effective is his lies? I mean, is it still really reaching a lot of people? I mean, there's no way to really tell this by just say, what do you think? And I'm saying, at what point do you not think that this is really starting to be like, okay, everything that this guy says is bullshit? Like, my cousin Vinny, the opening statements. I mean, how are we not at that point? Because every single time this guy opens his mouth, and I love the way these establishment Democrats, along with these establishment Republicans, keep on using this whole thing that, it's classic Russian technique to throw what you think about somebody else on your opponent. No, that's what we're doing all the time, and we're still trying to weasel our way out of it every single time. Every single time Blinken opens his mouth, it's like, it's so BS. So I want your opinion, and Oz, if you want to jump in here on this too as well. How effective do you still think it is to the mainstream when Blinken tells these lies?
I mean, I think the mainstream is just a bunch of people like sucking each other off at this point. Like they really all share the same views. So they're just reaffirming this echo chamber of views that they have. But what they need to realize is there are other people that most of the younger people don't watch mainstream media. So while they're trying to get the TikTokers and while they're trying to do this, there are independent voices everywhere that are reaching a few people and a few people and a few people. And eventually it's going to catch up to them because they're doing such a bad job in hiding it. And because also it's to the point where they can't even hide it anymore. So they kind of have to like blatantly say, oh yeah, we're supporting Ukraine, but they're not all Nazis. It's just a small portion of it. It went from, no, this is false to, well, there's some Nazis, but it's not that many.
A few hundred
and
Nazis.
They don't have that much power. So it's okay. So now that they openly admit they're Nazis, even people who were like initially like, oh yeah, Putin's an asshole or whatever, and his invasion was illegal, they're still like, but this is a very big problem here, and I think it's actually, we're seeing the fall of it. We're seeing the decrease of it, which is why they're ramping up their censorship. I don't think they're going to get away with this, honestly, in the long run. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I think actually what we're seeing is an exposure of them. And you can tell because they're trying so hard to keep this narrative together. Same thing with the COVID narrative, right? They got crazy when they were losing hold of that narrative. And more voices that are speaking out. We kind of had a conversation about this plastic yesterday when you said I was viewed as pretty radical, right? And I'm like, okay, well, to me, if you look at the people that are speaking out the truth, those voices are getting stronger. Those voices are becoming louder. Take, for example, the comedian Russell Brand, how they tried to smear him. And so he's come back and he's getting louder and louder. Now, he's a celebrity with a big platform, but people like that and the things they're saying in the mainstream, because he's more on the mainstream, but he's talking about the Great Reset. He's talking about certain things that might have not reached a younger audience, that might have not reached other people that, that don't listen to us or aren't in the world of politics. And I think that is saying, where is he getting that information from? Oh, he must be watching somebody else. And all of that information is kind of trickling everywhere. And eventually it's getting out. And so people are going to start seeing that information, plus also physically and realistically what's happening in their lives, at the gas pump, in food prices and all of that. And I think that together is going to signal some sort of shift. I don't know how big it'll be, but I think their days are numbered in terms of the facade of this, this prison that they put everybody in, where they think, oh, everybody's free, everybody's great.
Yeah.
Once people feel it in their pockets, that's when.
I just wish that, it would be death, destruction, coups, regime change, starvation, just extreme impoverished regions that would wake up American people to say, hey, let's stop doing this. Instead, it's gas prices for them to go, wait a second now, hold on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's thousands of people are killed over here, in Afghanistan with these sanctions and stuff. The sanctions in Afghanistan are killing more children than the bombs did. But we don't give a shit, but when we have to pay higher gas, whoa now. Let's take it easy over here. Invasion where? No.
You're right. But hello, it's like raising a child. The United States is a child that has been coddled, that has been completely self-centered. They don't know where Ukraine is on a map. They don't know anything. They don't care because they haven't had to care. And I think I said it the other day, I think on a tweet, I said, I think the United States people are going to start feeling a fraction, at least, of what other people have been experiencing for decades abroad. And it's going to be bad because they're not used to it. When you think about a fall of anything, poor people have been used to surviving. Poor people have been used to, but there's a lot of people in the United States that don't understand what poverty is. They have no idea that it's not just, it's literally not having running water, not having electricity, not having a toilet. Like it's those things that if you go to other countries, if you see how people live, you see that. But if you don't, you have no idea. You're like, oh shit, the gas prices, they're going to cost me. And it's very selfish, but I think unfortunately that is the way to get people to pay attention. And I think, like I said, it's going to get bad before it gets better.
Well, September 11th, that's back in the days. That's something that really shook people right now. Yeah. They were able to use it to go and invade other countries and set the whole Middle East on fire. We understand that. But that's what true American imperialism, American privilege is, fam, is the fact that we don't have to worry about a 9/11 happening every day. In other countries, there's a 9/11 happening every single day, mainly because of Western bombs and whatnot. So until we get to that point, what I'm saying, I don't know if it will really shake people up, because at the end of the day, they can still order fast food. They can still get Domino's. They can still get Spotify, Netflix, all that stuff. The internet sucks, but they have internet, whatnot, and they don't have to worry about, bombs dropping over their heads. So, that's the true privilege we're talking about. I really hope that we'll wake things up, because right now we're already past the point of no return. Things can get really hairy over here. It can become Alex Jones, I will eat my neighbor time if we don't stop this down road, spiral going right now. It's just getting so far out of hand. And it's like I said before, it really is not representative of the American people. The American people are asleep at the wheel. Our leaders are misleading and misguiding this country into some very serious dark times. If India and Pakistan are talking together because of what the United States actions are, then we got some serious problems going on, because the rest of the world is going to leave us, going to say, we don't need you anymore, pal. Bye-bye. And then we're done because we don't make anything over here. We don't wipe our own ass. You know what I'm saying? And we're so dependent on cheap labor, cheap goods from other countries. Those days will be over, and it's going to just be survival of the fittest. So all you people out there watching the Convo Couch, remember, I can cook. Thank you.